Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Rodan. So today I figured I would talk about a low budget horror feature, which seems rather redundant because I would have done it eventually anyway, because I've done this multiple times before. So okay, it's going to be a retrospect type of a spooky video, I guess you can say. Why not? Besides, Halloween's a year-round thing for me anyway, so there you go. Anywho, The Return of Dracula is the film I'll be talking about today because I haven't reviewed a Dracula movie in a good while, and I've reviewed Dracula themed stories multiple times before. And another thing, I haven't reviewed a vampire themed story in quite some time anyway, so here we are. And of course, as usual, let's just get into story, shall we? Because that's what I do. Anywho, of course, strange shit started happening. When we see that there's this vampire who leaves his native place, and let's just say there's this artist that gets murdered, and he assumes his identity and moves in with a dead man's American cousins. So he does some weird, crazy shit going on with that, of course. Count Dracula himself does kill this passenger on a train in Transylvania and assumes his identity. He travels to this small community in California where the Mayberries are expecting their cousin from Europe. His strange behavior, sleeping all day and going out at night, are surprising to young Miss over here. So, yeah, there's this woman named Rachel that is surprised by all this. There's also this policeman from Europe that comes to investigate Rachel's best friend. Um, Jeannie dies unexpectedly, and the Count plans on giving Rachel the gift of immortal life. So those are bits of romance, mystery, horror, of course, and then on top of that, some drama thrown into the mix. It's like a thriller horror movie in some ways, I reckon, because of course. But yes, definitely one of these types of movies where things get weird. Well, it's a horror film, so quite obviously is expected to get kind of bizarre, as they should, and that's fine. But ultimately, I can definitely say that it's it's definitely an oddball of a movie. I would definitely say that, which I didn't mind really, and yeah, definitely one of these types of movies that's pretty much in a crazy way. There's plenty of scenes where I would say that's weird because it's a horror movie. The Return of Dracula is definitely a nice little movie with I'll put a solid twist when it comes to the Dracula lore, so to speak. And I guess there's only so many times you can do a certain type of a Dracula story, and I guess the people who are behind this movie were trying to do something a bit different when it comes to these types of stuff, which is fine. Obviously, the plot itself is fairly straightforward, and the director, the people who are behind this movie, were trying to do their best with what they have. Of course, that's not too bad for what they were trying to gain for. And yeah, it's definitely a a gym I would definitely say that I recommend. Yes, of course, it's cheaply made. As out of these horror films I tend to review, I tend to be. So yes, of course, it's not gonna have anything fancy special effects kind of stuff. Of course, that's fine. I tend to like these a bit more anyway, if we can be honest here. But that's just me though. I tend to like these more than the modern stuff. Yes, I know that makes me sound like an old bastard, but you do have to keep in mind I've been around for quite some time, folks. Oh, definitely, I've been around for quite some time. You do have to recognize that. So, yes, obviously, I'm going to prefer this old stuff. These old horror movies I tend to have some charm to them anyway, when I think about it. And yes, I'm going to be one of those people that are going to say that they don't make them like they used to, because honestly, they don't. And yes, I don't think that a lot of people these days would want to make these types of stuff anyway, because maybe they're too risky, too weird. I don't know, too something that people might find offensive. And I know a lot of people tend to find a lot of these old movies offensive anyway. Like something seems to be a bit off about these films according to some people. well, just don't watch it, and because if it's gonna bother you that much, anyway, it's fine with me, folks. I would say I definitely recommend it. If you're one of those people that's a fan of these Dracula type movies, then definitely check this out. There's a certain type of atmosphere that this movie does attempt to have, so that counts for something. There's actually some effort in place here, so I'll give that some credit, if anything. Oh, definitely. I like vampires anyway, to begin with. Vampires were always my favorite type of creatures to begin with. And I thought this does give me a chance to talk about something vampire related, and I would talk about it here. And yes, vampires are still a thing, at least as far as I'm concerned, anyway. And I just thought I'd just bring this up here. And yes, this is an old movie that may turn off a lot of people because it's old for one, and that alone could just make people just not want to watch that just based on that, which I think is kind of bizarre. Because just because it's old doesn't mean it's bad. But whatever, people, whatever. Nevertheless, yes, of course, I just talk about this for one because I do think that when it comes to old horror movies, I do think that there is a certain charm to this kind of stuff. At least they're more willing to experiment, is what I'm saying. At least they're more willing to try, do different things. I'll give it that. Oh, definitely, I give it that. That's for sure. And ultimately, I can say that these types of films I tend to like for that reason. Well, part of it anyway. And ultimately, I can say that I know this may look too cheap for some people, but you have to keep in mind they didn't have like really that much of a budget to begin with. So the locations they have, the outfits, the wardrobes, the sets that they would use, there's only so much they can do. You do have to keep in mind. I guess what matters is how creative you could make these entire thing. You have to have a good execution, obviously, and that's just the way it's done. It just depends on how it's done. Ultimately, when you think about it, and that's definitely a thing here, of course. Oh yeah. But anyway, just like as any final words is that the last voice for this movie, I would say that if you want to, like I was saying a moment ago, if you're a fan of Dracula, there you go. Or if you're just a fan of just anything vampires related, I also give this a chance anyway. You're just a fan of just anything vampire related. If that's your cup of tea, then there you go. I tend to like vampire stuff anyway when it comes to the horror genre. Oh, maybe just me, I guess. Call me a weirdo, but whatever. Oh boy. I've been around for quite some time, so yes, I've heard a lot of name calling and just been enjoying these types of movies. I was quite crazy before, but whatever, people. Just because I like to watch these type of movies does not make me a crazy person. Oh no, obviously not. Mm, I don't know, maybe I just got bitter over the years. Well, I did have bad at eight different. Yeah, I had 8 marriages. They were all terrible. Ugh, I just got bitter. Ugh, I can't stand people at times. Anyway, but that's the thing though. I'll definitely give this a chance because I was not too shabby for what they were trying to aim for in the grand scheme of things. When it comes to story, the characters, quite clearly. Anyway, I'll give this an overall rating of a 7.0 out of 10. It's a 7.0 out of 10 for me. So, of course, as always, thanks for watching and take care. Until next time, see ya. Oh, yeah, later.